Okay, guys, we're going to be talking about how we can basically book into multiple calendars using one voice AI assistant. Now, I've been getting this question over and over again, and I just figured I would make a video about it just so that you guys know exactly how you can get this done. Now, it's not the simplest thing, so I can understand why people would be asking me about it. However, it is super beneficial, especially if you have multiple locations, franchises, whatever it is. This video will help you get to the point where you have a voice AI assistant capable of plugging into multiple calendars and being able to deliver on those, right? So I'm going to give you guys a simple outline of how it's going to work, and then I'm going to show you guys exactly how this is going to come into fruition. So first things first, let's just pretend right now that the voice AI assistant calls the user, right? Which is what I always call them. Now, in that conversation, the assistant asks the user what person they would like to book in or department per se. In this case, what I made was they can book into 3 potential calendars. It could either be my calendar, so Kevin's calendar, Danny's calendar, or the implementation calendar. Now, the user can basically select what calendar they would want to book in, and once they select that calendar, we have a specific API call that essentially grabs the time using that calendar ID, right? So if it's from my calendar, it would have a specific calendar ID, which I teach it inside of the prompt, as well as the API call, which is a custom action inside of Synthflow. And then it's going to get the calendar time slots, so the available times in that calendar, and then tell the user the available times. Once that happens, basically you are the assistant will be able to tell the user, okay, I'm going to book you into that time, but the assistant isn't actually going to book it into that time. The call itself, the calendar appointment, is going to be booked after the call itself. Now, why are we doing it this way? We're doing it this way because sometimes people decide to change their minds. So sometimes people select one time for the booking, and then sometimes people select 2 times. So for example, somebody goes in and they say, hey, I want to do this time, right? And then they change their mind afterwards and they're going to say, never mind, I want to do this time. The assistant in the normal real-time booking right now in Synthflow, it books them twice. And we don't want this to happen, which is why we just get the final result, which is at the end of the call. And then we book the call, the appointment after the call in a GoHighLevel automation. All right. So this is going to be a GoHighLevel and Synthflow build, as I usually do. That's my main focus. And let's get straight into it. Let's do this. All right, fellas, so now that we're in here, you guys can see my screen. Essentially, there's going to be a couple things that I want to go over. So the first thing is I made an assistant that is in version 2.0, which is currently the version that you're going to want to be using with Synthflow. If there's a version by the time you see this, of course. And essentially, these are all just settings that you're going to set up that I've explained in past videos. There are a couple of them that you can go over, but in this case, we're going to be going over mainly the prompting as well as some custom actions that I'm going to show you guys. All right, so first of all, I'm going to be giving you guys the prompting to this, as you can see right here. Which is going to go over pretty much the details that I'm going to tell you guys right now. So essentially, we're going to have a section inside of your booking stage that is going to identify what calendar the user wants to book in. So for example here, if the user agrees to set up a meeting, ask them if they're looking to book a call with Kevin, Danny, or the implementation team, which is what I told you guys earlier, right? And now here, it's going to match the user's calendar ID with the calendar of choice. So if it's from my calendar, it's going to select this calendar ID. Danny's calendar, this calendar ID. Implementation team's calendar, they're going to use this calendar's ID. All right. And once it does that, then it's going to go over to appointment booking, which is where we confirm the user's time zone, which is this section right here. We confirm whether the time works for them, right? And then here we confirm the user's email. So that way we can send them out an email as a confirmation, right? Which is what we're going to be doing. Now, once that happens, we're going to go ahead and confirm the time that we booked it in. So this is very, very important. You need to put it like this. So you're all set for your appointment on month and number date of the appointment at time of the appointment converted into Eastern time. So this depends on what time zone you're trying to book in. And then you'll receive a calendar invite shortly. Just accept the invite so I know you received it. So we just tell the assistant to say this, right? So put some quotations there. Now, then it proceeds to say its goodbyes. So this is basically the main part. This right here is the main part of the calendar booking, right? So this section right here is the main part of the video itself. You are going to want to use this for your own calendars. Just keep that in mind, right? Because you're going to be pulling in from multiple different calendar IDs. So that is the prompting part. Well, let's go over the calendar slots. So get calendar slots custom action. Now, if you want to get a head start on this, all you really need to do is go over to create marketplace templates. You're going to go to GoHighLevel. You're going to click on get and then get free slots for a calendar. I've made all of these custom API actions for you guys so you guys can use them. So make sure to use them, right? And then you press create on here. Once you press create, you're going to tailor tailor that to this, right? So you're going to tailor all of that template to this template essentially, right? So you're going to click on the get data. You're going to copy and paste this endpoint. If it's not the same one, you're going to connect your GoHighLevel account. And in here, this is one of the most important parts. All right. Make sure that you get the start date and end date correct in here, because it's going to be very important for you guys to get free slots. All right. So essentially you're going to fill in the query parameters, as you guys can see right here. And then you're going to do the end date and start date on there, in which you would then match these start dates with the descriptions correctly. And then of course you also want to write down this, which I'm going to leave down for you guys here below in the documents. And I'm going to call it calendar ID description, so you guys can have that on there. Very important, because you're going to want to put that in there so it understands how to fetch the correct calendar ID depending on what the user chose for their calendar, right? So that's the point of that. And once you do that, you're going to get some results for the calendar itself. As you can see, it fetched a bunch of times for me in different days. And now once that happens, that should be it, right? You can set some messages in here. That way you're able to tell the assistant what to say when the custom API call is being made. If there's a delay, you can tell the assistant now what to say throughout the delay. And then if there's a failed, so if something fails within this, you can essentially have the assistant say something. In this case, I'm actually having the assistant tell the user, hey, I'm going to send you a calendar link so you can check out the times yourself. That's what I'm doing here. All right. So that's basically what happens on here. Now, what happens on GoHighLevel's side? So on GoHighLevel's side, I'm going to have a post outbound call data system here, which I'm going to start by getting an inbound webhook for the trigger. So we're going to copy this URL, as you guys can see right here. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And then we're going to the assistant under deployments, and we're going to paste it on here and initialize, which you're going to have. All right. Once you initialize it, you're going to go back to mapping reference, and you're going to select whichever one you did last. So let's say it's this one, select that one, and then you save the trigger. Once you do that, I've gone over many videos explaining how a post outbound call data extraction workflow works. So there's no need for me to go over this again, but I'll go in simple terms. We find the contact here. After that, we pretty much search for reached voicemail, we search for call failed, or we search for answered the call. All right. So once we do that, we can then go to down here, which is where we're going to be able to obtain if they were busy, if they were interested and booked an appointment, if they were interested and didn't book an appointment, not interested and turned on DND, which means they didn't want to be disturbed anymore. All right. So once that happens, essentially, we're going to select mainly, right, the interested and booked appointment part. So once they fall through these cracks, right, this branch specifically, we're going to figure out what calendar the user wanted to book in. So that's when we're going to take into consideration these info extractors right here, which you can see. All right. So all of these info extractors will play a role inside of this post outbound call data extraction workflow. But in this case, we're checking for this one, right? So chosen calendar. What calendar did the user choose to book in? Kevin, Danny, implementation, right? Here, we're checking for what calendar they chosen. So that way we can send them down the correct branch. Kevin, Danny, and implementation. Now, if they chose Kevin's calendar, they're going to go down this section right here, which is going to book their appointment. All right. Very, very important. Now, in terms of formatting, you want to make sure that you do the info extractor for appointment date right here. So copy this word by word. This is going to basically pull out the appointment date that the user booked, right? And then it's going to use it in here, as you can see right here, as a dynamic value to book the appointment at that specific time. So I'll show you guys how I did it again. I clicked on this little button right here. Then I went and clicked on the inbound webhook trigger. I went to executed actions. I went to appointment date, then return value and appointment date again. All right. And then you save that action. So now it's going to book in every single time into whatever the user decided was best for their time. All right. So after that, you're going to want to override the availability if you'd like, of course. I usually have it on just in case, so I don't miss any appointments whatsoever. And then I save the action, right? And then after that, you should be entirely good to have an assistant capable of booking into. Now, if you guys found this video helpful, obviously leave a like down below, maybe subscribe if you want, of course. Just know that if you guys do subscribe, it really helps me push forward. And I want to thank you guys for 500 subscribers. I really do appreciate every single one of you guys that think this content is actually valuable for your time. Keep in mind, there's way better things that are going to come in the future as well. I have a lot of things planned for you guys, but keep in mind that I do have a lot of these free snapshots already inside of my community right here. You're going to be able to go in there, talk with other people, be active, and then you're going to get some free snapshots to do so. Not to mention, I also have a good amount of free courses there you guys can watch, and they're very good. They're going to get you guys up and running in a good amount of time. If you guys have any questions, I'm also in there, so you literally shoot me a message and I will respond no matter what. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.